Ever heard the tale of a ghostly rider with no head, galloping through the night, carrying his own skull, searching for revenge? Yeah, the Headless Horseman. But here's what most people don't know. This chilling figure didn't start in America. His story is much older, much darker, and way more real than you might think. So tonight, I'll be your guide through this shadowy legend from its blood-soaked roots in Europe to the revolutionary horror that haunted early America. Ready? Let's ride into the mist together. Imagine this. It's a moonless night. The forest is silent, except for the echo of hooves pounding through the fog. You glance behind and see a rider, dressed in black, but his head is missing. He's coming fast. And you suddenly realize he's not just after anyone, he's after you. Sounds like something straight out of a nightmare, right? But centuries ago, people believed he was real, and they had good reason to. Let's rewind a few hundred years, back to medieval Europe. Long before Sleepy Hollow and Washington Irving's famous story, the idea of a headless horseman already haunted European folklore. In fact, you can find his traces everywhere. Germany, Ireland, the Netherlands, even Scandinavia. Each culture told its own version of the ghostly rider, but the message was always the same. He was a warning. In Ireland, they called him the Dullahan, one of the creepiest figures in Celtic mythology. Picture this, a black horse with eyes that burn like fire, pulling a carriage made of human bones. The Dullahan rides only at night, and wherever he stops, someone is destined to die. They say he holds his decaying head in one hand, using it like a lantern to see through the darkness. The head glows with a strange light, and with it, he can see any soul, no matter where it hides. But here's the worst part, when he calls your name, you die instantly. No escape. People used to cover their windows at night, praying the Dullahan wouldn't stop near their home. They believed that if you ever saw him, you'd be cursed for life. In Germany, he appeared as the Headless Huntsman, doomed to wander the woods forever. Some said he was a nobleman who hunted on the Sabbath and was punished by God. Others whispered that he was a soldier, killed in battle, whose spirit couldn't rest because his head was never buried with his body. And then there were the Dutch tales, where a headless soldier haunted old battlefields, endlessly searching for his missing skull. Sound familiar? That version would soon cross the Atlantic and take root in a brand new land. Fast forward to 18th century America, a world torn apart by war, superstition, and revolution. The air smelled of gunpowder. The nights echoed with fear, and ghost stories were everywhere. When Washington Irving published The Legend of Sleepy Hollow in 1820, the world met a new version of the Headless Rider, one that felt both terrifying and strangely human. Irving was a master storyteller. He took the old European ghost tales he grew up hearing and gave them a new twist. He placed his phantom in a small, quiet valley along the Hudson River, a place so peaceful it almost lulled you into believing the supernatural could exist there. The story begins with Ichabod Crane, a lanky, superstitious schoolteacher who loves ghost stories more than good sense. He's in love with Katrina Van Tassel, a beautiful young woman with a wealthy father, and his rival for her heart. Brom Bones, strong, handsome, and fearless. One autumn night, Ichabod rides home from a party at the Van Tassel estate. The night is dark. The path winds through ancient trees and thick mist, and suddenly, from behind, he hears it. A horse, a rider, coming closer. He turns and sees it. A tall figure on a massive black horse, with no head on his shoulders. Instead, the head, or what looks like one, rests on the saddle before him. Panicked, Ichabod races for his life, galloping toward the bridge where the ghost is said to vanish. But just as he's about to cross, the rider hurls his head straight at him. And that's the last anyone ever sees of Ichabod Crane. Was it really a ghost, or just Brom Bones in disguise, scaring his rival away? Irving never tells us, and that's what makes it so haunting. But beneath the humor and mystery, the story hides something much deeper. You see, Irving wrote this not long after the American Revolution, a time when the nation was still haunted by the memory of war. The Headless Horseman wasn't just a ghostly figure, he was a symbol of violence that refuses to die, a spirit of the past that keeps returning. Some historians believe Irving based his ghost on real Hessian soldiers, German mercenaries who fought for the British during the Revolution. Many of them were killed in battle near Sleepy Hollow, and some were buried without their heads. Local legends soon grew about a headless soldier seen riding through the woods at night, searching for what he lost. It's eerie, but it fits perfectly. A ghost born from war, an unfinished business. Now imagine living in early America when nights were pitch black, forests stretched for miles, and wild animals howled in the dark. You can see why people believed such things. Back then, death wasn't distant, it was part of everyday life. Everyone knew someone lost to battle or disease, and stories like the Headless Horseman gave shape to that fear. They turned grief into something you could picture, even if it terrified you. But here's the twist. The story didn't just stay American. It spread and evolved. Across the ocean, in Europe, the headless rider remained a symbol of death. In America, though, he became something else. A piece of culture, a Halloween icon, a myth that blended fear, folklore, and identity. Hollywood loved him too. From Disney's 1949 animated classic to Tim Burton's dark 1999 film, Sleepy Hollow, each retelling added something new. Sometimes the horseman is pure evil, other times, a tragic soul caught between worlds. But no matter the version, one thing stays the same: he rides for revenge. And you can never outrun him. Think about it. Why does this story still send chills down our spine after hundreds of years? Maybe it's because it taps into something primal. The fear of losing your head, literally and metaphorically. The idea of losing control, losing identity, of being trapped between life and death. There's also something strangely romantic about it, a restless spirit searching endlessly for what's missing. In some versions, he's not even evil, just lost, wandering through the mist, trying to reclaim a piece of himself. And that's what makes the legend so powerful. It's not just horror, it's history, emotion, and mystery woven together. Every time we hear the echo of hooves on a dark road, or see mist curling over a graveyard, that old image comes back. The rider, the missing head, the unstoppable chase. The Headless Horseman reminds us that legends never really die, they just change form, riding through time, haunting each generation in a new way. And maybe that's why he still matters today. Because behind the ghost story is a truth that every society, every age, carries its own haunted memories. We might bury the past, but it always finds a way to return. Imagine for a moment you're walking home one foggy night. The street is empty. You hear the distant clop of hooves echoing in the dark. You tell yourself it's nothing, but then it gets louder and louder until it's right behind you. You turn and there's no rider, just a black horse, steam rising from its nostrils, and in its saddle, an empty space where a head should be. The legend lives on in whispers, in stories, in every corner of the world where shadows move just a little too strangely. So next time you hear about the Headless Horseman, remember, he's more than a ghost. He's a piece of history that refuses to rest. A reminder that even the most civilized nations were once shaped by fear, faith, and the unknown. And as long as people love a good scare, the rider will keep galloping through the fog, forever chasing his missing head. Because some legends never stop riding. So what do you think? Was he just a story to frighten children, or something much deeper? Something that connects Europe's darkest myths with America's haunted beginnings? Whatever the answer, one thing's certain. On a dark, windy night, when the moon hides behind the clouds, listen carefully. You might just hear the distant thunder of hooves. And if you do, ride faster. Because he's still out there, waiting. And that, my friend, is the chilling tale of the Headless Horseman. If you enjoyed this journey through Mystery Vault, make sure to subscribe and join us for more mysteries of history and the world around us.